This is my Unit 5 video discussion. I am Carl Taylor, and this is for PM692 for Dr. Jose Santos Romeo's class. My executive summary. In this week's classwork, we have been discussing risk and how it affects projects and teamwork. Risk is something that not only needs to be considered, but is also thought about in the terms of how we need to deal with it, keep track of it, and to know the potential problems that come down the road. Risk is an important topic to discuss when it comes to project management, as it will show your team problems that can and will arise while trying to complete your project. We ultimately want a successful project with as little risk as possible, even though that is not always the case. What is a risk register and why is it used? A risk register is a tool in risk management and project management. It is used to identify potential risk in a project or an organization, sometimes to fulfill regulatory compliance, but mostly to stay on top of the potential issues that can derail intended outcomes. That's taken from RAID 2017. The risk register also includes all the information about each identified risk, such as the nature of that risk, the level of the risk that is involved, and who owns it, and what the mitigation measures in place are to respond it. It explains all of the risk that is involved and helps to let the team make better decisions on possible alternative actions so that they can move forward finishing the project. That was taken from Macaulay 2013. What is project risk control and why is it important? Risk management is basically an approach in which we explore, identify, analyze, and mitigate the risk that can affect our project. Risk management is an important part of project management, which, if done effectively, leads to the success of your project. Risk management is an action plan that consists of various steps which are done to ensure the removal of the risk. If you're dealing with a controllable risk, then you may set such a plan that can help minimize the effect of these risks so you cannot fully get rid of such risk. And that's from Majid 2018. Risk management is done by risk managers who are well aware of all the risks associated with the particular business or project in different ways to mitigate them. As this is the age of multitasking, so various organizations also expect project managers to be risk managers as well. That's taken from Majid 2018. Ultimately, risk control is important to not only keeping the project going, but to, again, prepare for the obstacles that could show up during and completing a project. When would you create a risk assessment chart? A team can not only use a SWOT analysis, but also use decision trees on how to rate their risk assessment chart with the identifiable risk for the team to solve the risk involved in the team project. And that's from Altharia 2018. Using these tools help to categorize the risk and put them in their place of the risk register. The team also puts them in a category from severe to less importance. What is contained in a risk mitigation matrix? The objective of the risk mitigation is to reduce the possibility of the consequences of a risk event to an acceptable threshold and define appropriate response. Questions to ask are: what are the available options? Trade-offs, which is the cost/benefit of each option. The impacts of the current decisions on options. Risk mitigation actions may also be costly and time-consuming. Actions taken are balanced against priority level of the risk. Organizations typically transfer risk where possible, for example, through product warranty. And that's from Workplace Efficiency No Date. What is the probability and impact matrix? Remember that qualitative risk analysis is a subject analysis of the risk identified in the risk register. Also keep in mind that the process is repeated as new risks are uncovered throughout the project. To perform this risk, the following are determined: the probability of each risk occurring using a standard scale such as low, medium, high, or 1 to 10, the impact amount of stake or consequences, positive or negative, of each risk occurring using a standard scale such as low, medium, high, or 1 to 10. That's all taken from Macaulay 2013. Because qualitative risk analysis is based on subjective evaluation, the ratings can be very based on people's biases doing the rating and how risk averse they are. A person uses the chart to sort out the risk and determine which ones are immediate threats and which ones are not and should just be watched. When thinking about specific project, how will your team determine the various project risks and come to consensus regarding the risk? We as a group determined our risk taking into consideration the project that we were working on, the threats of the risk, and how important they are to the project. We held certain topics to a higher understanding, and some were prioritized as low risk, and they were put on a watch list. We debated on these topics during a nice long team meeting. Many risks, especially the probability and impact, can be subjective. How do project managers reduce the subjective of the probability and impact on a project? Well, we categorize the risk and place them on charts based on the importance of the project. The project manager will have to assess the importance of the risks to the project. Usually the project manager will try to access the list of risk to what will help and hurt the project while trying other possibilities to not only save the company time, money, but also taking into account the overall savings to the project, the team, whether it be time or effort. And that was from Macaulay, 2013. Risks are something that every team member and project manager needs to be aware of when trying to complete their group project. It is important to not only complete the project in a timely basis, but also to meet deadlines, come in under budget, and ultimately finish the project with either good usable parts or a great finished product. Taking all these things into consideration, it is a lot of hard work completing a project while trying to avoid risks that could come up in the course of working on a project. Thank you very much. Have a good night.